What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose tonight 6-2 to the Dodgers. Before I get started, you guys can do me a favor. I'm 20 subs away from 2,300. So if you guys are lurking or new, hit that sub button. Just helps me out a whole lot. And hit the like button as well. That just gets the video out to more people. They've lost this game 500 times this year. They have 67 losses, right? 67, and they've somehow lost the same game 500 times all season. No offense, pitching does its job, get into extra innings, and they can't win an extra inning game to save their lives. Mariners are 6-14 in extra inning games. Don't for the life of me remember the six. I can't remember the six. I'm trying to think. Actually, this could probably be super boring, but I'm trying to remember the six. They won, I think they won one in Toronto. They beat the Yankees in one where Cal had a walk-off. I think they beat the Angels in an extra inning game in LA. And I think they had like two against the A's in Oakland or something. I don't even remember the other ones, to be honest. I think during that winning streak, a couple of those winning streaks, I think there might have been one in Kansas City that they won or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it feels like it's 0-50. It's the same game every time. And, for the most part, they played pretty well. Like, I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. They hung in there against the Dodgers for the most part, but they can't afford to just hang in there anymore. If they were 5 games up on a playoff spot, I'd probably be willing to say, listen, that they played 2 games against the Dodgers and they've played them tough. But I'm also tired of having to say that. They played the Braves pretty tough, lost 2 out of 3. They played Baltimore pretty tough, lost 4-6. They played the Rays pretty tough, lost 3 out of 4. They've played the Dodgers pretty tough, lost 2 games. I'm tired of it. When are they going to win one of those games? Because if you get into the playoffs, which we'll talk about, you can't tip your, you can't just say, oh, it was close. And listen, I'm guilty of that. I've done it. I've said it, but eventually you do have to win those games. This isn't April 19th. We are in mid-September. There's 14 games left. You've got to find a way to win some of these games. You have to find a way. You had multiple chances to win this thing tonight. Absolutely. Did the Mariners have some bad luck in that 11th inning? Yeah, they did. They gave up about 13 blue hits, but they shouldn't have even been in that position to begin with. I'm just going to talk about the certain situations. I'll get into the box score a little bit. Bottom of the 8th, Josh Rojas gets a single against a lefty. Sam Haggerty base hit. The 2 guys you don't expect to come through for you. JP, Julio, Teo do up. JP has the worst at-bat of the season. Perfect timing for it. Julio doesn't have a terrible at-bat, but strikes out. Teo, not sure what he was doing, strikes out. Look, the Dodgers bullpen is great. The Dodgers pitching staff is great. Same thing I said earlier. I get that they've hung in there against the Braves, the Orioles, the Rays, the Dodgers, but eventually you've got to beat them. Eventually, if you want to be considered a World Series contender, you want to be a team that's taken seriously, not just in the playoffs, you have to eventually win one of these games. That's great that you're hanging in there. That's good. It's better than getting blown out, but it's not good enough. You have to win one of these, and they just can't do it. I mean, your bottom 2 scrappy little hitters find ways to get on. Can't do anything there. They have no chance in the 9th inning to do anything. To the 10th inning. Yeah, again, Chris Taylor gets a little infield hit. Colton Wong sac fly. It happens. That's kind of the stuff that happens in extra innings with the runners at second. Bottom of the 10th. I mean, you get Caballero to third. Josh Rojas hits a line drive. I don't have a problem with the contact play there. Rojas hit that hard. Cabby didn't have time to get back. Does a nice job getting in the rundown. Rojas gets to second. And then Mike Ford comes through with a huge season-saving base hit. JP drills a double down the line. Julio is walked. And then Teo gets ahead 1-0 and swings at a slider outside that just lay off that. If it's called a strike, it's called strike 1-1. Yeah, with 2 strikes, I get you probably got to swing at that. 1-0, you did not have to swing at that pitch. I also want to add, I don't have a problem with Mike Ford not being pinch ran for in the 10th inning because I know that's going to come up. Number one, I do not think Canzone scores on that. It was hit too hard. I don't think he scores. Number two, Ford has to stay in the game to play first base. That's not Scott's fault. Haggerty started against the lefty. Dylan Moore already started against the lefty. They were gone. Caballero had to run for Ty France. You have to do that. You're not always going to know what situations are going to happen in the future. There's just nothing you can do there. Which, if you want to get on Scott for not running can zone for Ford or something like that, be mad at the team for the eighth inning, because that was their chance. Dodgers bullpen's really good, but you're at the top of the order. There's no reason JP, Julio, and Teo cannot produce one run there. That's where the game was lost. It was lost in the eighth inning. The rest, you're leaving it up to too much baseball chance and stuff. And I'm not even convinced many people score on that JP double. It was just, it's hitting to the shorter part of the field and right. That's a hard one to score on. Haggerty probably does, or at least you send him and force the throw, but that might be about it, on that. Nothing you can do there. You get to the 11th inning, you actually get Freddie Freeman to strike out. Spire strikes out Freddie Freeman. You walk Will Smith, set up double play. A pretty good two-strike pitch from Spire to Max Muncy that he just sticks the bat on, and it falls into center field. The Dodgers had a lot of those in the 11th, but the Mariners had chances to get those too. But, the Mariners had the eighth inning. They could have dropped the bloop in there and gotten a run, and they couldn't do it. I know I'm all over the place with this recap a little bit. It's not very organized, but those are just the things in the game. And again, if this team was 5 up on a playoff spot or well ahead in the division race, I'd probably look at that and say, listen, the Dodgers got some bloop hits. Just some things didn't work out for this team. But they can't afford that. They can't afford to just go, it happens. And that's kind of been my point talking about the Braves, the Orioles, Rays, the Dodgers series. They just can't afford to have that. They've got to win these games. They're out of a playoff spot. If the playoffs started tomorrow, which they don't, and the Mariners actually do control their own destiny still because they play one more game than the Blue Jays do, and they have the tiebreaker. So if you can win that game and stay within 0.5, you would be in the playoff race. The worst thing about September, though, as Texas and Houston both lose, Houston's lost 4 out of 5 to Oakland and Kansas City, and they still have a game and a half lead in this division. And that's great. It's kept you alive. If we want to talk positives, and I always try to bring a positive spin, you're a game and a half back at Houston, a game back at Texas, half game back at Toronto. You just got to find a way to pass one of those teams, and you'll get in. That's the good news. If you want silver linings, the good news is everybody else is kind of stinking too. Toronto should have lost it. That was a frustrating game. But the Mariners have got to start winning at some point too and take advantage of this. And yeah, the Dodgers are great, but they've had chances the last 2 nights to have won both games. My hope for tomorrow is the Dodgers clinch the NL West is that they just give everybody the day off tomorrow and just let a position player pitch and let the Mariners win. Dodgers fans, can you do that? Can you just give Mookie, Freddie, and this is the problem without having the 40-man rosters. Now it's only 28. Back in the day, the Dodgers probably 100% would have just had a B lineup out there tomorrow, but because of the fact that you can't do that anymore, they'll probably still have some of the regulars in there, but just trying to be a little tongue-in-cheek. You got to laugh sometimes, right? And the Mariners are 5-10 in September, I think. If they were 7-8, they'd be in first place. That's not even good. That's below 500. That's probably the most frustrating thing right now. If Houston and Texas were just like 13-2 apiece, and the Mariners were 10-5 in September, you tip your cap. There's sometimes nothing you can do. But these teams are scuffling. 500, and this team would, in a sense, almost be locked into a playoff spot here as long as they just didn't fall in their face the final 14 games. But they just haven't even been able to do that. I know this probably isn't the series to just jump on them, but I have to. Like, they have opportunities, and they had chances to win this game. The Dodgers just didn't come in and kick their butt. My biggest concern was Bryce Miller against the Dodgers lineup today. I was worried about it. I didn't think Miller could get through it, and Bryce Miller did. I don't know what I don't know what all the exit velos off of him looked like or anything, but I don't care when you're facing a lineup like the Dodgers. Miller went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 Ks. Bryce Miller absolutely did what you needed him to do today. Did not give up an earned run against a lineup that has Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Jason Hayward's having a great year. Outman's a good player. I mean, and Bryce Miller shut them down for 5 1/3. He absolutely did his job tonight. Kudos to Bryce Miller. He deserved better than his fate. Saucedo came in, did his job. Brash was great. Silver lining, I talked about maybe some of the stuff with the playoffs. Another silver lining, Munoz looked as good as I have seen him in a month or two. And the slider was back. I believe he got Muncy to swing and miss on a nasty slider. That was good to see. Topo wasn't great, but I mean, take away the Chris Taylor swinging bunt hit, and I wonder, your thoughts on his appearance might change. His outing might change a little bit there. Spire's final line isn't good, but again, I mean, if Muncy doesn't punch that out, just get bat on ball and punch that in for a base hit, I wonder how much different Spire's outing is. And then Isaiah Campbell. And if you want to be mad that, why is Isaiah Campbell you're down to your final few arms in the bullpen. Someone's got to pitch those innings. Listen, for the Dodgers, I thought Sheehan looked outstanding in his 3 innings. Listen, the Dodgers pitching talent is insane. I will say I didn't think Clayton Kershaw looked as sharp. His velocity looked down. I thought he hung a few curveballs. I thought the Mariners had a chance in the first inning to grab a run or two and couldn't do it. They missed a lot of opportunities. And that's the thing. And that's the killer. That 8th inning is the one that, if you're going to stick with anything in this game, that 8th inning needs to be the one that sticks. Because your bottom of the order, scrappy players that are supposed to be pretty meh, got first and second, nobody out. And if you want to say how JP should have bunted, no, I don't think JP should have bunted. One, JP's been one of your better hitters this season. Number 2, if JP bunts, Julio gets walked, and then Teo's up facing a pitcher with nasty sliders, bases loaded. Sure, maybe you take your shot with that and Teo gets a sac fly, but the way Teo played today, I'm not so sure that happens and they don't get out of it. And you don't want to take the bat out of Julio's hand in that instance, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on that. So I don't think JP should have bunted. And like I said, one, because JP's been really good in those spots. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't come up clutch. And like I said, they've just lost this same game so many times this year. There is no reason a team that's, even if you don't think they're good, whatever, there's no reason a team that's 14, 15 games over 500 should be 6-14 in extra inning games. Imagine if this team was 500 in extra inning games. Mind you, 500 is that's average. That is average. For a team that's 14 games over 500, you'd probably expect them to be more 12-10, or no, 6-14 is 20. 11-9, 12-8 would be more expected for a team of their record. I wouldn't expect the Oakland A's to be that bad in extra inning games. Yet somehow this team can just not find a way to come through and win these extra inning games ever. The polar opposite of the last 2 years. And they were fortunate the last 2 years. They won a lot of them. And I don't expect them to be the same as that. The last 2 years, they're like 15-5 in the extra inning games. You know what I mean? But my gosh, imagine if this team was just 10-10, 500 in extra inning games. They'd be 85-63. I mean, they'd be cruising to an AL West title. Cruising. Think of some of those games. The Angels game. And that's the frustrating thing too. I talked about September and being 5-10 and said, just imagine if they were 7-8. Just imagine if they didn't leave the bases loaded, nobody out against the Angels. Just imagine they don't blow a 5-run lead against Cincinnati in the 6th, 7th inning. Win both of those games. And you're probably in first place. And listen, the Mariners can go back and change results, then so can Houston, so can Texas, so can Toronto. So it's not really a game I should be playing because I'm doing something that I hate when other people do. You can't just take your close losses and say, turn those around. Then if you're going to do that, you need to take close wins and turn them around. But I'm venting. We're having a Mariners discussion, so I'm going to do it. You do that. That still includes losing 3-4 to Tampa, losing the Mets series, losing the first 2 games here today, losing that brutal game into the White Sox where you had to lead in the 9th, blowing that lead to Kansas City in the 9th. That's taking all that and leaving it the same. Just win that Angels game and win that Reds game. To me, I don't know why. Those are just the two that stick out to me the most. And I know they won the Angels series, and that's good. But man, just frustrating. And now you put yourself in a spot where you're facing the Dodgers, and you can't. I can't sit here and go, "Oh, how did you get shut down by this pitching staff?" Because it's ridiculously good. Still had chances though to do it, and like I said, I'm kind of all over the place, and I apologize for that. Maybe I should wait 20 minutes before I do these post game recaps sometimes. But it's great that they've hung in there, but eventually you've got to find a way to push yourself over the top against these teams. You've got to. I know baseball's a very small sample size of games. Like it's hard to sit there and just say that, just because they lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves means that they're finished or anything. But you got to find a way. That 8th inning, they get a run there, they probably win this baseball game. 3 silver linings, and then I'm going to get out of here. And please remember to like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. 3 silver linings. Let's end on a positive, because we need a little positivity in our life, because Lord knows the Mariners haven't given to us a lot in September. I'm sure the Seahawks will give it to us going to Detroit without both starting tackles going. I'm sure that will be a fun Sunday morning. What was I saying? Silver linings. 3 silver linings. Like I said, you're a half game back of Toronto, a game back of Texas, game and back half of Houston. Pass one of those teams, you make the playoffs. You play that extra game that Toronto doesn't play. So technically, if you win that extra game and everything else breaks even, you'd be in. Goals to get in, see what happens. I know people are going to say, well, this team right now isn't playing like a team that could win a World Series. The Phillies didn't look like that much last year either, and they went on a run. Baseball's weird. Baseball's weird. I can only say that for so much longer, though. And eventually, this team does have to win games. That's number one. Number two, and this is really, really going out there, but maybe the Dodgers sit a bunch of guys tomorrow. Champagne in the locker room tonight, I'm hoping. And a hungover Dodgers team just kind of rolls over tomorrow. And you've got Logan Gilbert going. So you've got a pitcher that can get it done. I think Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman deserve a day off, just my opinion. I mean, the Dodgers are so loaded, though, they'd still have guys that could kill you. I was joking on Twitter that even if they started the position player, he'd probably roll out a 2.2 ERA somehow. And then the third silver lining was Andres Munoz looked ridiculously good. And I know it hurts right now, but you still got, how many games are left? 14. It can still matter down the stretch here. I am not giving up. Will not give up, because it's still all right there in front of them. It is. It is. You can tell me I'm stupid. I really don't care. Not that any of you guys have ever done that, so I don't know why I even say that stuff, because you guys are awesome and have always supported my channel. But I'm saying it just more that's never directed at you guys, for the record. That's more directed towards like the masses more than you guys. But I won't give up, because baseball is weird. Baseball's a weird sport. You're 1 win away from just going on a 6-game win streak. You know what I mean? Like it does. Baseball happens. You stay within 2 games of Houston going into that homestand. Maybe you sweep Houston. Who knows? Like, I'm just saying, it's still right there. It's still right there for them. But my gosh, do they have to play better? And I'm not even gonna say figure out this extra inning stuff, because it's past that. But just do something. Do something. But man, just just the emotional roller coaster, that 8th inning, the 10th inning, when they look dead, and then Ford saves them, and then it looks like JP saves them, and I'm thinking, here we go. Like, Teo's gonna drop a base hit in there. They're gonna win. It's gonna be a great walk-off. We're gonna feel good. They're gonna have a playoff spot. We're going for a series win against the Dodgers. And I feel like an idiot, because I preached to you guys. It's like, hey, you never know. They could beat the Dodgers. Like, baseball's funny. And they've lost the first 2. I will say, in my defense, they have not been far off from winning these games. So I don't think I was completely wrong with what I said. They just have not been able to. These teams are going to. Tomorrow's going to be brutal. Can one of the teams win tomorrow? If you're a Huskies fan, congratulations. That might be the team to fall if you're a Seattle sports fan this year, is those UW Huskies. I'm not a big college football guy, but man, they look good. Can one of the Seahawks and Mariners win tomorrow? Last Sunday, I had to talk about 2 losses. Can we not do that again? Can one of them win tomorrow? I really like last weekend was the same thing. Sorry, I'm rambling because this is my last point. Last weekend, Mariners lose on Friday, lose on Saturday. Both teams lose on Sunday. This week, Mariners lose Friday, Mariners lose Saturday. Can the Seahawks or Mariners, can one of them win tomorrow? I don't want to go through another weekend not having a win. I'm supposed to enjoy my weekends. Please, somebody win. Somebody give me something tomorrow. Even if the Mariners lose and the Seahawks win, at least I can have something positive to talk about. If the Seahawks lose, please win, Mariners. Please just find a way to get a W. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. Take deep breaths. Enjoy friends, family, other things. Can we just fast forward to the end of the year and just tell me if they got in or not? Have a great night, everybody. Take care. And as always, go Mariners.